It's beautiful, Frank.
Is it?
It is beautiful.
I'm taking your word for that.
Hey, Frank.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am super excited of being here talking to you.
I'm excited talking to you too.
Especially after I discovered that you have been doing films since you were 8 years old.
I have been making movies and acting since I was 8 years old.
So, can you tell me a little what is your first movie about?
My first movie was making The Wizard of Oz. I reenacted the entirety of Wizard of Oz. I played all the parts, with the exception of one of the witch's guards, which was played by my father in a cameo role. Yeah, that was my first movie. I was 4, actually. That was when Dad was making the movie, and I was just being used as an actor.
Wow. Well, I guess that you
picked up the camera when I was like 7 or 8.
Oh.
That's when that started. Yeah.
So you are so lucky because you discovered your passion very young.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I didn't know it at the time. It was something I liked to do, but then it wasn't until probably junior high or high school where I realized that it was a passion, and that's what I wanted to pursue career-wise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's about, half a dozen shorts that I'm extremely proud of in my one feature film. And I'm working my upcoming feature film right now, which should be out, fingers crossed, next spring. So.
What is the name of your next feature?
Her Wilderness.
Okay, what the hell did he say?
Her Wilderness.
Her wilderness.
Like the wilderness, but it's like her wilderness.
Her wilderness.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back to another question.
Maybe I'll just change it.
Just forget it.
I'll change it right now. Give me a minute. I'll make a note.
Actually, I met you in the...
Change the title.
Please. If you want another interview, please change the title.
Next time. I will. I'll make sure of it.
I actually met you when you were in the Dallas Film Festival in the red carpet for The Other Side of Paradise, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There, what was your role? You were an actor only? Or?
Yeah, I was just it was my first red carpet, my first big festival experience, and it was cool because it was in your hometown. It was with friends on a movie that I was really excited about. And yeah, I was just an actor. I was one of the leads, and it was a great time. It was a wonderful time. So I met you, and I met a lot of other great people on the red carpet.
Oh, and I have to say that there is a scene where you give a kiss to a girl that was, wow. I was like, hello, Frank.
Oh, really? That's good to know. You tell me this now. 6 years later. Yeah, it was all the slow motion. It's the slow motion of music. It's amazing what it does for you.
No, it was very good.
Yeah.
And then the next year in the festival, you were showing Hold, right?
Yeah, and that was my first feature film. My directorial debut as a feature film, and that was a long time coming. It was a very, very personal film I collaborated on with Robbie Story, and it was just cool to premiere it there a year later, come back with a new project, but this time, instead of being in front of the camera, being behind. You never know.
What has been like your proudest moment, or the moment that you are like, this is worth it just because of... Ding, ding. ...
It's a tough question. I would say most likely from a filmmaking point of view, I would say seeing your film, especially Hold, being such a big deal, like making your first feature film and actually finishing something, and then trying to make it the best way you can. I think that very first screening for the cast and crew, the family and friends, was a really, really big deal. I remember, like, my heart was just, like, pounding in my chest when we showed that first screening. Because it was just, it's like you'd finally made a real film. It was a feature film, and it was a lot of work and a lot of blood and sweat and tears had been put into it. So I would say that's probably one of those memorable moments where you're like, wow, like, this is truly a new level, a new point that I've gotten to, in my film career, It's that first time, that first one, so. Film that I've worked on, I don't know. That's a tough question.
It's coming from God,
Because Vanessa Lewis is God, ladies and gentlemen. Bring out the big guns tonight. Big questions. Well, it's tough because there's a lot of movies I've worked on that maybe I'm really proud about. I don't know if I would want to watch over and over on loop for the rest of my life. There's some other films that maybe.
Okay, you are just
like
gonna watch it once. God is like, this is heaven.
Well, it's interesting.
Once.
Whenever I think about probably like the film that like is the most personal to me that I made. It's not necessarily the best film I've made, but it's probably the most personal film I've made, and it's really only because of having made it the way I made it with the people I made it. It was a short I made called Leave back in 2007, and it was like shot in a day, and it was improvised, and it was basically a returning to my roots of being reminded of how you could just, as a kid, like making movies in this very house. I used to run around and make a movie in a day. And so I had been working on this other project that was just taking a lot out of me, and it was like a 2-year-long project. It was very meticulously put together, and I had to get a break. And so we just ran off and improvised this film that had some actors, and the other half of the cast were non-actors. And it was personal because I was making it with my friend Nick, who I've been making movies with since I was a kid. He's like a brother to me. He's one of my best and oldest friends. So getting to work with him now, being older, putting my mother and grandma in the film and having them give these emotional performances, like good performances, like crying and improvising. And so capturing that moment was just so raw and so real and so intimate. And then the other actors in the cast, like my friend Jessica, my friend Gideon, we were all we're working together, and it felt like a workshop. It felt like, just making a movie the way I used to make them. And I think that's why that movie sticks out in my mind to me, is that it was kind of a new step for me, and just kind of honing in on different things that I could do with making a film that's very detail oriented, that would hold would later be, but then I can go out and maybe do something in a different style, like on the quick, because it has a different aesthetic, and it can lend to a different sensibility and arrive at a different result. So I would say that one has a lot of memory, a lot of emotional weight behind it. So.
Okay, let me tell that to God. God, did you hear? He says yes.
Man, you are the channel.
No, I am.
I had no idea.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, thank you so much. I really wish you a lot of success in all your projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Success.
And I'm sure I'm gonna see you in the next red carpet, so the Pink iPhone will be happy to interview you.
Well, you're awesome. Thanks for the interview, and you're so supportive. Thank you. I appreciate it.